So I've done this challenge and I want to provide you guys an in-depth explanation on how I got the solution and the exploit. So first, when we run the instance, we're given a lot of song lyrics, so and also an input field. So we try to input something random like ha ha. So when we do that, obviously it won't be that easy. It just prints out more song lyrics. So we have to inspect the source code. So once you download the source code, you'll see a main function, which is reader, the main function here, the function being called, and we have our main song lyrics right here. Okay, so let's start analyzing. So at the start, flag is being retrieved. The flag is then being appended to a portion of the song lyric. This will become the intro of the song. Then that intro will be appended by more song lyrics, which is the main body of the song. Alright, so we get the full song here. Then that full song will be used as one of our argument for our main function reader, and verse 1 will be the second argument. Alright, second argument, verse 1 is actually the start label here. Okay, so with that being said, let's start jumping into the main function. We have the values here, which will mean a lot later on. So first of all, what we do is we use the song here, which is a multi-line string, to split into different lines based on the lines and form a list or an array. So this array has a lot of items, and each item represents a line in the song. Make sense? Okay. Then we use the song line list, iterate through it to detect or use it to assign for our variables here. So first of all, if the song line is equal to start label is our verse 1. If the value is verse 1, then its index will become the value of start. Its index plus 1 will become the variable of start. If the value is refrain with a bracket, then its index plus 1 will become refrain. If it is return, then the index will become refrain return. Okay, so what it actually does later on you'll see, but let me give you a brief introspection. So if, let's say, my start label, which starts with verse 1, is 20, right? So my start will become 21. So as you can see from here, if my index is verse 1, then its index plus 1 will be the next line, command line wizards. Then this will become the starting point of my song lyrics that will be printed out. Okay, so the same logic here, you'll see if it is refrain close with a bracket, then plus 1, which is next line, will later on be used to be printed out. Okay, so that's the idea, as you can see from here, right? But you'll see more later. And refrain return is itself, so it aims to try to break the song lyric loop. So it will like break here, and then it will print a new song lyric, and so on. Okay, so here comes the main loop. So first of all, lib will become, as you can see, our main control variable here, and we have an infinite loop, as you can see, while not finished, and finished is equal to false. Line count smaller than max lines, so we cannot print more than 100 song lyric lines. And here comes the main loop. Okay, so for each line inside the song line, right, so this is lib, so that means we already is diving into our first song lyric, which is the start. So start is this, and it's based on verse 1. So the first line of our song lyric being printed out is command line wizards, as you can see from the instance here. Okay, so when it hits the song line, it tries to split the song line based on the semicolon if it is present, but obviously it's not present, but it does for some song lyric, for example for refrain. Alright, so if it is refrain, so if it is this line, the refrain will become one value and the empty string will become another. That's the use case of this one. Alright, so if line is equals to empty string, we ignore, continue to the next line. If it is equals to refrain, however, here comes the special part. song lines of the refrain return will turn into return plus this. Alright, so don't panic. What this actually means is we try to trace back to the line of the return lyric. Then that return will be appended with the lib value. So for example, through my iteration, the lib is right now 28. Alright? And when it hits, for example, for verse 1, I try to loop until here. When it hits refrain right here, it will use the current lib, which is already +1 of course for each loop. For example, now currently is 21. We will append it behind the return, so it becomes 28 plus 1 is 29. Alright, so that's the idea. So why it does that is because it tries to later move on to the next song lyric. I hope that makes sense, but later on you'll see it. Okay, so it actually just changes the return value line, and then lib equals refrain. So refrain is our refrain line. So imagine this, we started off from verse 1, right? So as verse 1 progresses into each song lyric, it hits refrain, then that refrain will loop back to our prior paragraph, which is the refrain paragraph. So there's more song lyrics down here, right? So this is the verse 1 that we started off with. Then we go back to refrain paragraph. Okay, so let me remove this first. Errors. Alright. So in our next condition, if the line is start off with crowd, then we have an input, as you can see from our instance here, right? So this input is then used to change the line where it starts off with crowd. Wait, is it? No, lib. Oh, okay, it changes the current line, sorry. It changes the current line, and so later on it will print out the line with the input. So for example here, crowd equals haha, then it tries to print other lines, eventually hitting it back to our original one, and crowd colon haha. So our input is saved. So that's the idea. And then the next condition is if it detects return with integer values behind it, then the integer value next to it will become the value of lib. Alright. So and then the other condition is if it hits n, which is the end of the song lyric, then it will break the loop, and in the end, if nothing is matched here, which is the other normal lyrics, then it will be printed out with a slight delay. Alright, so my instinct in looking at this is of course the few special conditions, right? For example, this one, if it detects return. So right now, or just now, I mentioned that if the return here ends off with some sort of integer value, for example 28, then right now in this condition, if it fetches the return line, it will use this integer value and turn it into a lib. Alright, so the idea is right now we start with verse 1, correct? We go, hit refrain. Then once we hit refrain, we turn back to our prior paragraph, which is refrain paragraph. Then we go. Okay, so here's the thing. If here return, if it hits refrain, then it will be appended at the return line. So for example, I start off as verse 1, I hit here, then once I hit here, this is line 35 for example, then it will append 36 right here. So once the refrain turns back to the paragraph here, it prints out these song lyrics, hits return, interpret the 36th line, then jumps back to line 36, prints more values, print more song lyrics, hits refrain, then the refrain will turn back into the refrain paragraph, right? But at the meantime, this line 44 index will be changed in the return line again, essentially achieving the loop of always looping back to the refrain but always moving on or continuing the song. Alright, so that is the idea. So my idea is, since there's a loop, since it detects indexes, then why not? Then definitely we have to exploit the input right here. So my first instinct is, of course, to somehow perform an injection, right? So first of all, the re.match matches return and index value. So my first instinct is to remove this crowd. So how do I remove? I try to, like, for example, input a control instruction, which is escape character B. So if you don't know, this represents backspace in Python, right? So my idea was to essentially wipe out this crowd. So there's 7 characters here. Wipe out the crowd and append with my own value, for example this. So if I input this, then it changes the crowd line, right? It changes the crowd line. So for example, yeah, I hope that makes sense. So it started off, for example, printing our output, right? So what I actually do with this is basically I remove the crowd here and just replace it with my own input. Simple as that, right? But unfortunately, it doesn't work. As you can see, the backspace character, or the escape character, sorry, it does not work. It doesn't work like that. And I tried other ways to do it too. For example, here I've searched how to pass backspace instruction. No, wait, it's this one. Yeah, it is another way for ASCII code, is that we insert the notation H to some sort of like removing the value, but it does not work because the way Python input works is to treat anything as a literal string. That is what I discovered later on. So that does not work. So I was thinking, what else could it be? Because I cannot physically change the crowd, so how should I somehow manipulate or exploit the return? So then I take a closer look in the loop and I find something good, which is actually our initial line of the loop. So in this loop, we split the lines into 2 or more values based on the semicolon, right? So my idea right now is, let's say we have a crowd, as you can see from here, crowd, right? What if I do this, right? So it would treat this as different lines. So crowd will still be interpreted as crowd, no problem. I'm not trying to remove it, but my next value, return 0, is going to be treated as a serious line, as a separate value from the crowd. Alright? So that is going to be our solution here. And you might be wondering, for some people who might not know, why I did return 0 is because we want to return back to our initial line or initial item in the song list as splitted right here, or in simple terms, we're trying to go back to our first line, right? I'm not trying to complicate things by like doing other index values, because 0 is good enough. So with that being said, let's go. So I hope that makes sense, right? I hope that makes sense to y'all. Okay, so now we do this. So our return 0 will be treated as a separate return line. I hope. Here it comes. Yeah. So that's it. That's how we exploit the Python script. And wait, stop. Okay. So let's get the value right here. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. So that's how you solve it.